And we're back. We're back, dear viewers, with yet another exciting round from the Spilimbergo Open, where Levy Rosman, aka Gotham Chess, pursues his very first Grandmaster title, Grandmaster Norm. Actually, Grandmaster Norm, because you need to make 3 of them to get a Grandmaster title. And this is going to be the second game of the day, because earlier today, in case you were following it, Levy already played a game against one of the strongest Ecuadorian women players. He played a draw. He had some winning chances, but in the end, his opponent was able to prevail. So right now, Levy stands at 1.5 points. And he is gonna play against an Indian chess talent. So let me show you what it looks like right now. There's the video feed. We have fixed it. Again, apologize from the previous round. We tried to make it work because, yeah, I'm kind of responsible. I suggested Levy to fix the Wi-Fi issues with the eSIM, which was supposed to provide unlimited data, but it did not. It just crashed and burned. 1 hour in, and that's why we are back to the Wi-Fi. Maybe it's gonna get sporadic at times, but at least you get to see Levy on the camera. So who is his opponent? All you need to know is read this article. Summer Arsh wins the Ordinary Geisy Death Match 2-0 scholarship. So this is no ordinary opponent. This is just bad. Bad pairing. Because essentially Levy is paired against young Indian talent, age 15, I believe, at the time. And last year he was playing against Ordinary Geisy in some exhibition match. So if I would scroll down a bit, I believe it was organized by Chess India, one of the superpowers in the chess world. Obviously, Indian chess is booming. There's a Geisy himself. And the big news was Levy's opponent for today. So he was the one who managed to beat Super Grandmasters. That's the guy. So he is a talented guy. And that's Levy's opponent for today. That's all you need to know. And this is also the reason why I had no time for a recap. I mean, originally the idea was that I will be doing a recap after this round, but I had to help Levy, obviously, with the prep. And we are looking at some of the possibilities that he should choose. And ultimately, we decided to stick to the ready. Oh, sorry. My phone has not been switched off. So the idea here is that Levy is going to play knight f3, d5, and most likely e3. We didn't really have a lot of time for the prep. Levy was considering to play the Nimzo as well. But my advice was that against the young Indian, you should try to play solid. Maybe straight go to the endgame. Play simple chess. Because Indians in general, they're known to their really supreme opening prep and calculation abilities. So why would Levy want to compete where his opponent is as the strongest? And I believe the downside for the young opponent would be his lack of experience. So since he's only 15 years old, I put my money on that maybe Levy's best chance is to beat his opponent by playing simple chess. And that's why we are considering Reti. Also, knight f3 g3 was the idea. But Levy saw something in his opening prep that he quite didn't like, and we didn't really have a lot of time, like half an hour. I didn't even have my dinner because had to help Levy, had to set up the stream for round 3 because I'm the one who is starting it, I'm the one who is ending it, so it was quite a bit rushed. And we decided to stick knight f3 e3 unless Levy has some last minute ideas. I suppose we are going to see for the dinner Levy had pasta. Sorry, not for the dinner, for the lunch. He managed to grab some food. He was a bit disappointed after missing the victory in the previous round, but he's in good spirits. That's what matters. He feels good. He was not happy with his time management. And okay, what's done is done. Draw is also not bad. There's the shake of the hands, and I think knight f3 is about to cap it. Here you go. Knight f3 is played. Now the question, how black is going to respond. I think he's going to play d5. Yes, d5 is on the board. So does Levy play e3 or g3? I think he already made up his mind to play e3. Because after g3, we found some problems. And we're not really sure if Arsh is going to have, or Shaikh, how do I spell his first name correctly? If he is going to have enough time to do the prep. But yeah, e3. Levy plays, and there's a fair chance that those positions, they will get to some sort of IQP, where Levy is slightly pushing. Bishop g4. Now that's a move I don't think Levy expected. That's a pretty weird move if you ask me. I don't think you're supposed to play like that. Bishop g4. That's weird. Okay, what stops white from playing c4 and queen b3? Those of you who have been following Levy's adventures in the previous tournaments, you might remember he played in the New York I Am Known tournament against Savanovic. I believe his first name was Alexander Savanovic. And Levy was considering to repeat this game. So bishop g4, this is something he did not expect. I can guarantee you this. But it also doesn't feel to be scary, because the downside is that after c4 and queen b3, white is going to immediately target a black's queen side. So maybe there's also some slower moves like h3. Maybe there's d4. And I think the first thing that Levy wants to do right now is to try to understand what kind of prep my opponent might have. Because you go through the games in your mind, at least, what you have played in the past games in this line. You try to recall what I have performed online. And c4 is on the board, of course. Makes perfect sense. Challenge the center. It enables the queen b3 idea. Hit opponent d5, hit opponent b7. So one thing we know about Shaikh is that he is a young talent. And maybe he no longer plays 2200. He could be playing much higher. Especially, I mean, all the kids who come from India, they're known for huge progress in a very short time frame. And since Shaik already was playing some games against some superstars like Gukesh and Eric Geisel, that's all you need to know. I never heard of him before, but not a big surprise. India has produced so many chess talent that I'm sure there's even more we haven't even heard of. And maybe this is also one of the next future super grandmasters coming from India. We'll see. Still, of course, too early to tell. I'm a bit surprised that Arsh is taking his time. I mean, c4 is the most natural move in this position. So, if you play bishop g4, rare move, there should be a follow-up. So where is it? Show your cards. Is it e5? e5, c takes on d5 and e4? I don't believe it. Is it some gambit? So let me just illustrate some problems. Like c6, you need to understand what happens after c takes, and queen b3. How do you protect all of your weaknesses? I don't know. I have a theory, if I may. I would like to share with you a suspicion. I don't think it's true. But could it be that Shaik played bishop g4 as his intended continuation up to g3? Because this is a move. Yeah, this is a move here, bishop g4. One of the best moves, actually. And now if white plays something like bishop g2, black plays knight e7, c6, c6, and it's pretty solid. And white has no time for something like c4 because this just makes no sense. Black is going to hit on f3 and just be super solid. c6, c6, knight e7. White structure is really weird. And since he's taking his time, could it be that the hand made a move before understanding what's happening? Because this is a move I've never seen before. After e3. So normally black plays here something like knight f6 or c5. There's this line like c5, c4, d4. You can play a gambit with b4, takes, d4, bishop d3. And white has a very nice compensation. But this early bishop g4 played so quickly, can't say I've seen it. And now after something like 5-minute think, here Arsh does play c6. I don't know. We're going to see. Could be some mind games. Maybe you want to send some message to your opponent that I'm out of the book. Well, actually, he's very much in the prep. I don't think so. Because there was no time for prep. And Levy plays all kinds of systems. This is like 1 of 10 things that Levy has done recently. There's no chance that Shaik had time to prepare something deep. So I think he just played bishop g4, maybe mixed up some lines. And now after c4, he's like, okay, this is not the same. But the position is still okay. And I think that there should be some queen b3 ideas immediately. Asking black some direct questions. Even h3 is good. For example, h3, and you go away with the bishop. Could be ideas like g4 here. Could be ideas like queen b3 knight e5. Not sure I like it really. So I would probably play something like queen b3. If black takes on f3, there's some sudden opportunities to play queen b7. I'm hitting the rook. You can try to trap it, but I think black is simply too slow. So it's never going to happen. This queen is never going to be trapped. I mean, white is simply just in time. So I would play queen b3, which enables also knight e5. Bishop f3 is a big question for black. Can he do it? Because queen b7 is a big threat. Let's see after queen b6. Now you already have knight e5. Hitting the bishop. Maybe, let's say, black decides to play a bishop f5. You could play c takes on d5. Threatening to win the pawn. Queen b3, a takes on b3, c takes on d5. I think black is in danger here. Like, I could play bishop b5 check. I could play knight c3. e6, g4, h4, knight b5 ideas. These double pawns that white has here don't really matter. So I think most likely Levy's like, what is this? What is this position? Is this the best that my opponent could prep in half an hour? We are going to see. My money is queen b3. But of course, a big question is how much stamina Levy has after the round 2. Because he had a long game. He was playing the second round game for almost 5 hours. He had a rest of about 30 minutes. He had a lunch. He had some prep. He might even have some signs of a jet lag because he arrived in Italy 2 days ago. I already said this a couple of times earlier that this is going to be the hardest day for Levy. He needs to survive. So having the victory here would be really great. But also not losing is great. I mean, if he's going to draw this, then the chances for the GM norm in the tournament, they're going to be not great, but still possible. So for the norm chances, he needs the victory here. But again, I mean, it's too early to tell. I think that right now, Levy is like, I don't think I've seen this position ever before. So if I have never seen this position before, there's something wrong with this. So he's choosing, also knight c3 might be a move, but I like queen b3. The question is, how familiar is Levy with these positions? Yeah, of course, queen b3 is played. Levy just checked. I'm not missing anything. Very easy move, because this is the downside of early developing the bishop. And by now, I think Shaik should be spending some time. Does it look like prep to me? All right. Now let me check some questions from the chat. No. By the way, dear viewers, you can use your opportunity to ask questions. I am following what you're saying both on Levy's Twitch and YouTube chats. Yeah, I feel pretty bad that I don't have the time to monitor my own chat, because I also stream on my channel, GM Nations. This is how you can find me on Twitch. But I already have to monitor 2 chats, right? and it's a very, very busy time. So yeah, sorry guys. Who is watching from my channel, it just 3 chats would be a bit too much. There's a question on the Twitch channel, where in Italy is Levy playing? So, Spilimbergo is a small town, about 11,000 inhabitants, and it's about a 1 hour and 20 minutes drive from Venice. You would say northern eastern part, next to the border of Slovenia and Austria. Not quite next to, but not very far from the borders of Slovenia and Austria. I've never been in Spilimbergo myself. I'm doing the coverage from Riga. I'm Latvian #1 Grandmaster. So I've been coaching Levy for the past couple of months, especially in May and June. July, early August was a bit slower pace because both of us were pretty busy. But now we are gonna again return to the typical rhythm. So Queen B6 is the response by Shaikh. The point is, he's defending the pawn. I mean, this looks pretty serious candidate move. C takes, Queen B3 takes it here. Oh wait, maybe black should include Bishop F3 first. C takes, Knight C3, E6. Could be some Knight B5 ideas, asking some questions. Looks reasonable. But I think actually Knight E5 is a bit stronger, because this knight is going to be a stronger piece than the bishop. So you hit the bishop, let's say black goes here, and now you play... Yeah, this is the idea I already showed to you, C takes on D5. With some bishop B5 check ideas, etc. So I'm not sure what Shaikh has to do, maybe bishop E6. Could be. Wait, I'm now wondering, is there a possibility that this could somehow get to the legendary blitz game, Caruana versus Firouzja? Do you know what I'm talking about? Quite recently, Fabiano beat Alireza Firouzja with a very cute miniature. And I'm trying to remember, what was it? I think it was something like, not exactly this position, of course. So it was something like, I'm just going to show the idea. So it was with the bishop. I think it was like this. H3 here, here, here. Knight E5. Takes, here. Okay, I already don't remember. I mean, somebody probably knows this better than me. But the entire sequence was this idea, which obviously is flawed. This was the big idea. I just try to remember how to get there. Looks very similar. So this rook a7 was the shocker and the Firouzja had to resign. But how do you get from this position? I'm not exactly sure. Levy played immediately c takes on d5. Queen b3. A takes on b3 and bishop f3. Most likely will follow. It's a nice position. And since knight a5 is a big threat, I think here Shaikh has to take bishop f3. Yeah, we had the pawn. If we had a pawn on c6, there would be rook a7 and c7. which is very easy to miss, of course. Very unusual tactic. But here I think g takes on f3 is going to happen. A c takes on d5, and could be some check. Knight c6. Okay, I even found some crazy ideas like rook a6. With the idea to take on c6 and after rook c8 play rook a7. Pretty crazy. But okay, I mean, after rook a6, black can play king d7. Probably he's just fine. And then basically you already have to go back. Because the rook is hit. Might be still okay. Try to play this position. Knight c3, d4, bishop d2, king e2, rook a1. Feels rather equal. And bishop f3 is played. I think Levy played this so quickly because we had this discussion before the tournament, before the round, with youngsters straight to the endgame. And this is the kind of position where White has nice open file. He has two bishops, simple to play position, and not much risk. I mean, these are double pawns, but Black has some difficulties immediately to exploit it. And my suggestion was to take it slow. Play to the endgame, play simple chess, because a Shaik is going to charge at him. Okay, maybe Levy could have played it something else. I mean, knight e5 was definitely a move I would consider. Hitting the bishop. And then after bishop e6, I don't know what. Could be something like knight c3. The only thing that I slightly don't like is that Levy made this decision very quickly. He could have spent something like 5-10 minutes more. But okay. I mean, ultimately got to the position that he wanted. Now the question is, does he give a check on b5? Or does he play knight c3? Knight c3 feels very natural. So let's say knight c3. Now e6, I suppose. Bishop b5 check. Or maybe even knight b5 is good. Threatening all kinds of ideas. Probably black has to play king d7. Because knight a6 is terrible. It allows white to play rook a6. So you cannot do that. Although the bar says, by the way, this is playable. Makes no sense. So knight c3, e6, or maybe knight f6, not sure which is more precise. Knight b5, probably king d7. Take on a7. And the question is this anything real at all for white? Because he has the extra pawn, but it's a double pawn. And black is pretty much safe. But it's an extra pawn. Knight c3, e6, by the way, is played. All right. Levy looks a bit tired, to be honest. But he should be pretty happy with the opening. I don't know, maybe start by bishop b5 check. Black will play knight e7. And maybe there's something like d4. a6, bishop d2, rook c8, bishop d3, maybe push e4 at some point. Maybe not immediately, but play something like king d2 first. This looks pretty promising. Two bishops. Black is pretty passive. Maybe at the right time, b4, b5 is going to make a difference. And white has two bishops. He's going to grab the pawn. What? What? What is this? What is going on? I mean, did he really play knight a6? Wait a second. I quite don't get it. So we were discussing this line like 3 minutes ago, and I said, this makes no sense. So rook a6, knight c7 is a fork, right? King d7, knight a8. I mean, okay, I get it. The knight most likely is trapped. Can black afford to play a5, bishop d6, knight f6, and get the knight? I don't buy this. So, okay, maybe black is going to go after the knight. Like bishop d6. And something like knight f6. Good idea to meet bishop b7, the rook b8. Okay, I understand that. But even this position, I think that white is just better. Like d4, give up the knight. You take it. Could be some slower moves like bishop d2. Okay, black could organize counterplay here. I was thinking bishop c3, king d2, rook a1. Two bishops. There's no risk for Levy whatsoever. So it's a very surprising choice by the Indian player. Could this be that this is some prep? Just a second. I'm going to open the database and I'm going to find it out, all right? Maybe all of this is known. I've never seen it in my life. Just a second. Where was this? So I'm checking right now the database. Checking now the database. Okay. There are some games. Not just a second. I'm going to check if it's until this moment. The database says there's 2 games played exactly like this. So the games continue with rook a6, b takes on a6, Knight c7, king d7, knight a8. Black played probably the human move, knight f6. Bishop a6, bishop b4. I suppose it makes sense to block the pawn. King e2, rook takes it. d4. Rook b8, king d1. Rook b6, bishop d3. And black was suffering. Okay. All right. So apparently Kuraitsa Bojan was playing this. Oh, sorry. Bojan Kuraitsa was playing this, I believe, Bosnian Grandmaster. Apparently it's a thing. I even saw Hikaru Nakamura playing one of the games in this line in the database. But I didn't check any further what he played. So knight a6 is the move. But you know, it just begs the question, why not then just play king d7? King d7, rook a7, rook a7, knight a7, knight f6, knight b5, most likely. And it just feels better version compared to what we saw. So I quite don't understand it. What's the big idea behind knight a6? It's a move. But there's no danger to Levy whatsoever. Weird stuff. All right, let's check some questions. There's so many messages. Yeah, I see you're talking about the game of Fabi against Ferrugia. M. Bob says, I do not like this position for Levy. I like it. What's there not to like? But you know, I think that he also has a chance to do something else, because the downside of the knight on a6, okay, this is pretty obvious idea. Knight a6, knight a8, etc. But the best part is, who says Levy has to do all of those things? How about he just plays positional chess? I mean, d4 is a very natural move. Look at this knight on a6. It's not doing anything. So let's say black plays something like knight f6. I'm going to play bishop d2. What is your knight doing there? So maybe black could play something like king d7. Something like bishop c3, king d2, bishop e2. Maybe black is going to try to bring it in the game. And then you can take the pawn. Like here. And just go back. Play king d2, bishop d3, rook a1, maybe e4 at some point. It's a great position. So, essentially here, Levy has a choice. Rook a6, knight e7, knight a8, probably bishop b4, take the pawn, knight f6, or knight e7. Maybe knight e7 is better, I'm not really sure. And then play something like this. Maybe king d1, rook a8, d4, rook b8, bishop d3, black is going to go here, here. I mean, okay, maybe it's not enough to claim an advantage, because as soon as you're going to take on b4, black is going to take with a pawn. And this extra pawn quite doesn't feel. But I mean, you could play bishop c3, king e2, rook a1, then try to take on b4, use the open file. No risk for white whatsoever. This is exactly what Levy wanted. Or maybe I was proposing him to do. So he should treat the opening as a success. It's a bit boring, but he's playing, at least we think so, where his opponent is not feeling most confident. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Levy is wrong. Maybe Shaikh is a positional genius. The assumption was that Shaikh might not like these quiet, boring positions. We'll see. Dada Smart on Twitch suggests, is the Indian sleeping too? We don't know much about him. I can only tell you the results of the young Indian. What he did. Just a second, let me pull it up. One moment. So he beat a 2000 rated player in the first round, and then made an international master a draw with white color against India, by the way, from India in round 2. So Shaikh is performing currently at 2400. So maybe his actual strength, as already was suggesting, is not 2218, it's more. But again, I think knight a6 could be, I'm not necessarily saying it's a part of the prep, but Shaikh knows this idea from somewhere. You know, the previous round, we saw Levy played the delayed bomb cloud, which is a nice content. Now the question is Levy going to sacrifice the rook? Take on a6. I hope this is not the main reason why he does this. That's the fate and the curse of a content creator. You have to produce content. In case you just joined and you're wondering what's Levy's progress towards the Grandmaster title, I'm going to break it down for you. So you need 4 things. 3 things are the so-called Grandmaster norms. What does it mean? It means 3 world-class performances in tournaments where you're playing against strong opposition. There's a bunch of requirements. One of them, you play against 3 Grandmasters. I believe 6 title players in total from at least 3 countries. And you score a lot of points against them together. And you perform at a rating of 2600. That's it. This makes a norm. So you need to do it 3 times. The trick is, it's no longer possible to do it only in closed tournaments that are designed for the title seekers to fight for the norms. Because if you enter a closed tournament, you already know in advance that this amount of points is going to get you the norm. You know it. And you can even select your targets. With that guy, I'm going to fight for the draw. That guy I'm going to beat. That guy I'm going to try to press a bit. That guy definitely need to win, etc. So you can plan your strategy like this. It's very common. But in open tournament, you never know. It's random. You never know what kind of opponent you are going to get. But still, it's very important to start very strong with a lot of victories. So the draw in the second round for Levy was a setback, but it's still not over. And it would be really great if he was able to win this. So then we could say that the start is successful. So you need to get the 3 Grandmaster norms of performance of 2600. 2 of them in closed tournaments, or even all of the 3 in Swiss tournaments. But the requirement is 1 norm has to come from the Swiss tournament. And finally, maybe even the most challenging requirement for Levy, he needs to cross the 2500 ELO at least once, even when it's live in his lifetime. As soon as he reaches over 2500, that's it. He no longer needs it. That's a requirement. So you need to fulfill these 4, and then you get the GM title. That's it. That's how it works. And obviously, to get the norms, you need to play very strong open tournaments. Maybe specifically designed round-robin tournaments, like New York organizes some of them. And Levy is definitely going to use the opportunity. But Hungary, by the way, is quite known for organizing a lot of GM round-robin tournaments with GM norms. Many other cities are doing it. So that's the plan. So prior to Madrid, there were a lot of people who did not really believe that Levy can do it. But I believe Levy's performance in Spain opened eyes for many that he can do it. And the question is when. In case you just joined us, we are on a 10-minute delay. And guys and girls, be ready. This is a long game. This is not Blitz. nor rapid. It's the time control is 90 minutes for the entire game, plus 30 seconds per every made move. So this means on average, the games will last for 4 hours. So sometimes the pace is going to be really slow. I mean, they can blitz out a lot of moves, but on average, the pace for a single move is 3 minutes. Just be ready. There's no need to rush. And I think we can actually use this time to talk about all kinds of things. If you wish, you could ask me some questions about how it is to coach Levy. It's been amazing so far. It's a huge challenge to me as well. And I think I heard my cat somewhere. The door's open. I don't know where he is. All right. By the way, the link to the game is you can use it by typing in the chat !tournament. It's going to produce you the link. You could use it and you can follow it. For the commentary, I'm not using engines. I only have the bar, just as you. So the main reason why I'm not using engines is that I think I'm qualified enough to explain the thought process. And sometimes engines, they just don't really allow us to think ourselves. Yeah, Levy's not sure. He's thinking about it's rook a6, knight c7, but I have a feeling he's not going to take it. Because once again, rook a6, the rook is sacrificed, but black's play is pretty straightforward. The knight is gone. Bishop a6, knight f6, king d1, rook a8, I suppose d4, rook b8. You could play bishop d2, the pawn is lost, bishop d3, a5, bishop c2. I don't know what black does, maybe here, knight e6. But I think it still deserves some attention. There's some ideas. I don't buy that this is equal. And the second idea is to ignore the knight. And maybe play something else. Perhaps d4. Let's say knight f6. Bishop d2. King d7. Bishop c3. Maybe knight e8. King d2. Knight c7. I'm just guessing. To be honest, this looks pretty logical. And some sort of e4 maybe. Rook g1, bishop d3. Looks pretty okay for white. The big question. And also it's very important to understand the mind of Levy. not only him, but all of the title players. Because it's not only all about rook a6 and knight e7 and knight a8. It's all about the big picture. So, a club level player, that's the difference. Club level player and Levy. Club level player is going to be, oh, I can sacrifice the rook. Let me do this. Rook a6, knight e7, knight a8. That's it. I'm great. Levy's thinking, okay, yeah, that is great. But what happens after that? He's looking at this position. He gives his assessment. And he's well aware of the concept that a good player chooses. A good player never chooses something randomly. He always makes a choice. So you weigh two options, and whichever feels better. So that's why rook a6 obviously is the option number one. But he's looking for another so that he can compare. I don't know what he's going to do. I think that he's really tempted to sacrifice on a6 because this allows him to produce some content. But he's not entirely sure if rook a6 is actually the best. He has some conflicted feelings. Tough choice. HTT Prek is asking on Twitch, how do you become a candidate master? Actually, I have no clue. I do not know. I know the requirements for IM. You still need to get those international master norms, the performance, the rating. I know the requirements to get the GM, the Grandmaster title. The requirements to get the FIDE Master are really simple. You need to get 2300, I believe, live rating on FIDE. That's it. You're FIDE Master. Nothing else, no norms. About the candidate master, I have no idea what it is. Probably some rating performances in some tournaments, but how does it work? I'm clueless. Angelique Azul on the YouTube is asking why Levy chose me as his coach. Did I know him before? And how did we start to work together? Thank you. By the way, Angelique Azul. Well, I have met Levy in real life. I was playing in 2019 National Open in Las Vegas when I was doing my US chess tour together with my very good friend Igor Kovlenkov. And the very first stop was in Las Vegas, the Sin City, which would host one of the most important open tournaments in the United States. And guess who I found there? It was Levy. And at the time, back in 2019, he was not yet a major content creator, but I knew him. And I knew him because I had been coaching his good friend, Alexander Ostrovsky, also a New York international master. And it was exactly in the same year, 2019. We had quite a bit training sessions. Alex was a pleasure. Fantastic guy to work with, very interesting personality, and a very kind person as well. So yeah, I met Levy and we briefly talked about that I have been coaching Alex, etc. He was getting ready for his tournament, and we parted ways. That's it. That's how we met each other. And that was back in 2019. And then obviously came the COVID. Everybody was sitting at homes. I was watching obviously a lot of content on Twitch. I saw how Levy was getting really popular. He was streaming non-stop. And maybe not out of the blue, because Levy was working really hard, he became this very successful content creator. And from time to time, we stayed in touch, because those of us who have been somehow affiliated with chess.com, we have a special channel, how we communicate to each other. And I had some discussions with Levy before. I think I was asking him as a fellow streamer how to set up some things, and Levy was always very kind with some advice, so he would not deny it. And then came the announcement. It was a late evening when Levy had just released the very first episode of the Grandmaster, Road to the Grandmaster series. He announced that he's going to be resuming his quest to get the Grandmaster title. And I don't remember what he else showed there, maybe some games, etc. And it was a very interesting feeling, because I was at home. It was really late. It was, I believe, 11 p.m. My entire family was sleeping. It was just me in total dark. And yeah, I'm watching the interview on my phone, and I just got a feeling this is fate. I can't explain it, because I knew him before. I had coached his friend. And also what I did not mention is that we had a very similar path to the Grandmaster title. I know what it is. Not being a competitive player, not playing competitive chess for many, many years. By the way, d4 was just played by Levy. So he decided not to sacrifice the rook. Mature choice. Engine marks as a missed opportunity. Looks completely normal to me. And what I did, I used this channel that we communicate with chess.com and other streamers. And I wrote to him a very short message. I basically wrote, "Hey Levy, I watched your first episode of the Grandmaster, Road to Grandmaster. I think it's a cool thing. We have something in common. I coach your friend. We have met in real life. Maybe you're interested to cooperate. Let's talk." So that's it. So I wrote a very short message. I went to sleep. And that's it. I didn't really expect that he's going to reply or anything, because, you have to understand Levy's super busy. There's so many projects, so many things running at the same time. I wake up in the morning. I open up my phone. Levy says, "Let's do it." That's how it started. And I don't think that initially we were thinking that this is going to be a long-term project. Because I think also Levy thought that it's going to be 1 or 2 lessons with a couple of Grandmasters and see whoever fits him better. I suppose there was something about my manner, how I was able to teach chess or get his attention, that he decided to stick with me. I'm very grateful for that. And that's it. That's how it started. And also for me, not only for Levy, this is a huge challenge for me. This is one of the most important challenges of my coaching career. I want him to succeed, because I know what it means for him. I know what it meant for me to become a Grandmaster. I know he's capable to do it. All right. I don't think there's something like knight b4, is there? Whoa. No, I don't think knight b4 is even correct. Yeah, now you can take the pawn on a7 for no compensation. Probably king d7. Maybe rook c8. I like d4. It's a great move. Even though the engine says it's a mistake, we'll see. Crylier is asking on Twitch, why do you think Levy's thinking so long? Now, he was just choosing between rook a6 and something else. I think Levy made a very bold choice. Can you imagine how tempted he was to play rook a6, sacrifice the rook, so that he can make content out of this? This is a very mature decision. That he realized, at least from his point of view, that maybe taking on a6 is not the best move. Must have been very tough. Janis Schreiner on YouTube is asking, what was Levy's biggest challenge in our training sessions? The biggest challenge. I don't really know. Probably finding the time. I think Levy's biggest challenge overall is find the time to do everything. So I'm just gonna explain you how most likely Levy's time looks like. I don't really know for sure, but I have a pretty good idea. He has YouTube channel. He's posting a video basically every day. That's why he's the biggest content creator in chess. He has the Twitch channel. It requires some love as well. He has TikTok. Somebody needs to create videos for TikTok as well. He has Instagram. Somebody needs to post videos for Instagram as well. He has Chessly. Who do you think is writing Chessly courses? He has other business meetings with chess.com and anybody else chess related. He needs to devote time for that as well. He's a family man. He's married. So he can't work 24/7, not paying any attention to the family. And on top of that, he needs to find time to work on chess. This is how his schedule most likely looks like. And that's why I'm quite often quite fine when we communicate about some things and Levy just doesn't answer. Because I perfectly get it. He's so busy and trying to find for everything that he sometimes simply doesn't have the time to address everything. All right. At what age did I become a GM? I have a question on YouTube, age 29. Quite similar to Levy. So Levy resumed his quest to the GM title at age 28. And okay, it's going to be really, really tough to get it within 1 year. But okay, whatever. 29, 30, 31. It's more or less the same. And I'm probably a slightly old-fashioned guy, but I believe we make a progress until age 33. So age 33 very often is considered to be the peak for most players. And after that, starts the downhill. So that's why I think Levy also would love to get the title within 5 years. So he's still young, he's improving, he's now working on chess more than ever. So he's only going to get better. Because before, he has never worked so hard on chess. There's an interesting question by... Oh, wait, that's another question. Just a second. I'm finding some interesting questions. Christopher says, for candidate masters just reaching 2200. Okay, I didn't know. Thank you. I didn't really know. I never got it. The first title I got was International Master. Straight. At age 18, I believe. So... Podrovsky on Twitch is asking, can I get a chess title if I started to play chess at age 35? Huh. So by title, you mean a candidate master? A FIDE master? It's going to be very tough. But with the proper work, sure. I mean, if you have enough time, if you can allocate enough resources, energy, you have no huge commitments, so you're willing to work on chess several times a week for years, why not? But the thing is, the older we get, the more committed we are to so many things. I mean, don't you agree? Is there, by the way, how many of you are about my age? I'm 41. How many of you are? I mean, I imagine there's a lot of youngsters. But the older you get, the less time you have. You just don't have it, right? And that's why obviously it's much more easier to start something new when you're younger. Because you get older, things just get more complex and complex all the time. All right, let me double check it. Am I missing something? No, there's no more moves. After d4, the opponent is thinking, Levy spent here a lot of time. I like the question. Levy is worried about the prep. 99% of players over here maybe would insta-play rook a6. And that's why Levy is the 1%. That he did not play rook a6. That's why he is going after the GM title. I mean, this knight on a6 is pretty bad. So if white is making sure there's no knight b4 and forks on c2, then the knight on a6 is going to cause black some headaches. Yeah, Molten Knight on Twitch says that Levy has seen the line with the rook sacrifice. He's making sure that this is the best line. I would not play it in 10 seconds. But Levy felt this is a critical choice. Bishop b4 check. Okay. Yeah, this is a move I don't think that Levy should be really concerned about. Probably bishop d2 here. Offer the trade. And now, for example, after the trade, the knight on a6 is still pretty bad. So black could play king d7. Maybe include something like bishop e2. Knight e7. Something like rook c1. I'm not sure. Rook a4, knight c6, rook a1. I mean, white is pressing. But okay, I mean, you definitely can see the danger that if Levy is not going to make something good out of his activity in the endgame, these pawns, they will be weak. I mean, bishop d2 is definitely a move. Maybe king d1 actually is pretty okay. For example, let's say knight f6. And some sort of a rook a4. With the idea to remove the knight so that he could take on a6 and kill the bishop. King d7. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe this is okay. Like takes, bishop a6. Rook a6, takes. Feels quite peaceful, to be honest. Okay, I missed something apparently. So king d1 is a move. I mean, why not? In the previous round, he played king e7 against his opponent. In this round, he could play king d1. What elo did I have at age 15, 16? Somebody's asking. Something 2300, 2370, I believe. 2370, something like that. Isaac Todman on YouTube is asking how similar is my playing style and Levy's. We're not quite the same. I believe Levy is a very creative player who manages to unbalance things. I myself more like a pragmatic player. So I used to be a very positional player, and lately I started to play a bit more aggressively. And Levy, he was a bit chaotic player at times. And I'm trying to teach him, sometimes also learn to play a bit boring chess. Because I believe this is part of the Gromster Road. How many hours per week do we work together? Open Show TV is asking. In May and June. Actually, there's a funny story, because after the first two lessons, we had some discussion, and Levy said, okay, let's continue. Let's make it slightly more long-term instead of the first introductory lessons. I said, okay, fine. But listen, my vision for you to succeed, I said, you need to work on chess. Maybe let's make it like 5 times a week. I said, I'm going to make it my priority, no problem. But we organize the lessons 5 times a week. Levy disappeared. He was missing for 5 days. I thought, okay, that's it. That's it. I mean, he has decided it's simply too much for him. I was thinking maybe I shouldn't have said 5 times a week, etc. So I don't know what happened. Maybe Levy was just very busy with some other projects. Most likely he didn't have any time, or he was having some second thoughts. I don't know. But he came back after that absence of 5 days, and then we agreed to do it like 3 times. I think the most we have done is 3 or 4 times a week. And usually those lessons will last up to 2 hours, so you can do the math. So the fastest lesson, I believe, was something like 1 hour, 1 hour 15. We talk about all kinds of things. The longest one, less than 3 hours. I think that was the longest one. All right. Somebody YouTube is asking, I'm 15. Is it too late to become a professional player? Depends your starting place. Are you completely new to chess? Are you rated 500? Are you rated 1500? I mean, it matters. So without this information, I'm not sure I can give you the answer. But as I already said, even some players who started to play chess rather late, at 16, they have become grandmasters. Gilo29 is asking, can I explain why it is such a challenge for me to coach Levy? Because I never had such a student. I never had such a student who has so much spotlight, who is one of the most famous content creator in the world. First time for me. I never had a student who is so committed to many other things that he has hard time to allocate time for training sessions. And that's why it's a challenge for me. Knight c3. Okay. It's a move. Not sure I like it though, because this allows the knight on a6 to escape. I like it there on b5 because it was taking away the c7 square for the knight. But I suppose there's going to be follow-up like e4 and put the bishops on e3 and d3. Can I do this, by the way? e4, knight f6. Maybe there's some problems with e5 and d4. And this is a pin. I have no idea what this is. Okay, maybe there's even knight b5 here. 2 bishops for a pawn. Exchange for a pawn. Very unclear position. Rook a4. Okay, so Levy has decided to go after this. And I think he wants to get rid of the bishop. to play b4, b5, and here black very quickly responded with a5. Bishop d2. Now the pace suddenly becomes quite faster. Bishop d3, rook e2, rook a1, and there's some pressure at queenside. All right. Now, since we have some material for the moves, let me take it a bit slower from here. So Levy is aiming for this position. He wants to play bishop d3, king e2, rook a1, and apply some pressure at the queen side. That much is clear to me. Maybe also knight b5 is a thing. But what happened with this knight c3? So I think that Levy was probably, this was not an easy choice for him to remove the knight, but he's forcing matters. So he hits the knight on a6. He hits the bishop, couple of easy moves. If black will play bishop d6, because bishop c3 just makes no sense. You fix white's pawn structure, white has a very beautiful center, so it doesn't look very promising. So bishop d6. And I think what Levy wanted, he wanted to play b4. So his idea was to play b5, bishop d3, bishop d2, and rook a1. So let me just make you a couple of moves so that you understand what was his intention. Let's say knight f6, b5, whatever, king d7, bishop d3, something like here, 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 here. This is what Levy wanted. He wanted to push b4, b5 to gain space, to apply pressure against the pawn on a7, and maybe at the right moment to play e4, e5. He would have the center, he would have the two bishops, he would have some pressure at a file. Now what happened is that Shaikh here responded with a5 very quickly. And by doing this, he's also weakening the b5 square. And Levy was ready for this, because whenever you're calculating your response, your continuations, you always include your opponent's responses as well. So bishop d2 makes perfect sense. You develop a piece, knight e7, and now also bishop d3, king e2, and rook a1 make a lot of sense. So here, knight c6. Here, let's say black does something like king d7, rook a1. Probably remove the rook. I'm not sure. Do you play knight b5 here? Takes, 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 takes. This pawn is in trouble. b6, b4, takes it. Resign. One of the ideas called black could go wrong. Obviously, it's not forced. And for example, after something like rook c8, Levy could play also rook a2 with knight a4. And let's say black does something like g6. You play knight a4. Takes, takes. How about knight c5 threat? King d6, knight c5, b6. So black needs to be very careful not to do anything stupid at the queen side. So this is his idea that Levy wants to do, and maybe combine it with the e4 push at some point. It seems that Levy was slightly surprised about knight e7. Maybe in his calculations he was expecting knight f6. But the knight on f6 is not doing anything, so in e7, c6 it makes a bit more sense. Yeah, the time management is not great for Levy in this game. Move 13. He's already down in 36 minutes. The first game was really tough. In the next game, Levy's even slower. By the way, but this is completely normal that you're playing double rounds every day. During the second game, your energy levels just decrease. But still the position is, okay, complex, but not so complex. So he needs to make a choice here. Maybe he's choosing between bishop d3 and knight b5. Knight b5 is also a move. The body language spells tiredness. Desperado is asking a question. At what age, at rating, do you think you have to be on the road on the GM with standard amount of commitment? I think I would, if I would have access, I don't have it yet on me, so I can't read it. But I suggest you to read some of the most inspired success stories by some very successful people. And you're going to see that all of us, we have different speed where we might get success. And if I remember correctly, there were some names like, okay, it's not really chess related, but the guy who founded KFC, what was his name? Colonel Sanders, was it? I'm sorry, I don't remember, not an American. I was just recently reading it. He opened KFC he founded KFC at what, age 65? Also Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, he started his business quite late. And there's many examples. Some players started pretty early, they get early success, then they slow down. Some people start a business quite late and they get very successful. So I'm not really sure if it's appropriate to say if you have reached age 30, 35, then you can't do it. Or you need to be at this certain age to be successful, and if you get past it, you no longer have a chance. All of us, we have a different pace. That's what I'm saying. Werner Angmuller on Facebook is, oh sorry, what Facebook? On YouTube is asking, what's my ELO rating? 25 70 something. I'm not sure, I haven't played it for a while. My highest elo was 2630, 31. I have been in the top 100 in the world, both in Rapid and Blitz. My highest Rapid was 2670 something, 74, doesn't matter. So I was in top 100 at some point, but in classical, never. So 2631, and that's it. After that, I fell down. It's just very difficult. And the level of competitive chess players today is just increasing dramatically. Chess is booming everywhere, especially in India. Basically, India is producing a new grandmaster every other week. So it's absolutely impressive. We're going to see where the game's going to take us. Yeah, Bishop d3 is on the board. I like this move. And nowadays, it's much more difficult to be competitive than something like 15 years ago. But again, I mean, it depends how you look at this. Chess now is more popular than ever. Super, super popular thanks to the Netflix, Queen's Gambit, thanks to the COVID lockdown, thanks to the streaming, especially thanks to Levy Rosman and his content. He's one of them. The coach is too biased. Romeo suggests on YouTube. Biased on what? What do you mean? Maybe I'm biased. Everything Levy related. But okay, I'm going to get your answer like in 10 minutes. GM Dennis writes that he is 16, has a FIDE ELO of 1655. Do I think he can become a strong IM like Levy in about 10 years? Totally. 1655 is a very decent rating. You're young. If you're going to work very hard, in 10 years, maybe even earlier. If you work very hard, 5 years, you can do it. Yeah, Levy's opponent is really fast. Sometimes this also contributes to your performance when your opponent is basically not spending any time for his moves. I mean, why should he? The position is pretty simple. You knew a lot at least after knight a6. a5 was a pretty obvious move. But Levy needs to speed up. All right. Bullseye Dart is writing on a scale of 1 to 10. How bad would I say is the time situation for Levy right now? So 1 being not dangerous and 10 being dangerous. 3, not more. He has still plenty of time. The position is pretty simple. I think we are going to see some trades, followed by King E2, maybe Knight B5, maybe Rook A1. No danger. Maybe even 2, not 3. Dimitri is asking on YouTube, how are the gained rating points evaluated? How many points would Levy lose or gain if he draws every match? Okay, so it's a pretty complex formula, so try to stay with me. Imagine this. Levy Rosman, he has the current rating of 2370. He's playing against the guy of the same rating level as he. He's playing against another guy who has 2370. If Levy wins, he gets for the victory 5 points. If Levy draws, it's nothing, it's equal because his opponent has the same rating. If Levy loses, it's -5. So that's the basic mathematics. And now there's every step, more rating or less rating. I think the precise number is 70 points. So if Levy is rated 2370 and he's playing against 2300 guy, who is 70 points less. For the victory, Levy is going to get 4 points. For the draw, Levy is going to lose 1 point. And for the loss, Levy is going to lose 6 points. So you can do the math. So he's playing against Shaik Karsh. Shaik is 2218. So we remove, the difference is about 150 points. King E2, by the way, was just played. So for the victory, Levy would get slightly less than 3 points. For the draw, he would lose 2 points. And for the loss, it would cost him 7 points. With me so far? If Levy will play, for example, against Daniel Darda, the top seeded player who is rated 2600, the difference between Levy and Darda is 230 points. Divided by 70, that's 3 points something. So every victory, for example, Levy plays against Daniel Darda, he wins the game, he gets 8 points. 8 points something. He makes a draw against Darda, he scores 3 points. If he loses the game, he loses 2 points. So the logic is, you're obviously interested to beat higher rated opponents because they give you more points. But it gets a bit complicated as soon as there's a different so-called K factor. And K factor usually is contributed to the young players under 18 and those who have never reached 2400 ELO. So Levy is no longer one of those youngsters, and he has beat over 2400. For Shaik, I think this rating route is going to be different. I don't know what it is, but I think for him, every single victory is worth not 5 points against an equal player, but it's K40, and that means every victory is 20 points. And this idea is that it's meant to motivate the young players to grow faster. If you would ask me if it's a fair system, I'm not the one to judge. It's FIDE. They have been testing this. They have been tweaking this for many, many years. No rating system is 100% fair. Always there are going to be flaws. I think actually how the rating system could be organized a bit better, we could adopt something from tennis. Like there could be overall rankings, and there could be the yearly rankings, which could be somehow counted together. So you take into account also the yearly performance. And based on that, you organize some super tournament, you invite some players, etc. So the rating system in chess is not ideal. There's definitely flaws, but it is what it is. King d7 is played by Shaikh. He continues to play very quickly. I suppose the position is still pretty balanced. Rook a1, knight b5 is somewhere incoming. Also, watch out. I don't think Levy can ever play knight a2. You need to make sure not to blunder the rook. It's a cage for the white rook. Not very good. So most likely Levy's going to play something like rook a1. With the idea to play knight b5 and get the pawn on e5. I think we already looked at this line some time ago. So it's a bit slow. Somebody on YouTube is asking, is starting chess at age 16 too late? Depends what you plan to do. Are you planning to be a chess professional? It's pretty late. You want to be a world champion? Definitely late. Do you want to learn chess and just be good and have some fun? Perfect timing. But to be honest, I don't think there's so many players in the world, at least I'm talking about chess players, who have started to play chess and they thought, I'm going to be successful. I will be a world champion. Do you think? You think that's the reason? I'm going to be chess professional. I mean, who on earth is thinking like that? Is that I'm going to now study chess. I mean, let's say I'm age 9. I'll be studying chess full time, 5 hours a day. I want to be chess professional. Okay, maybe there are some examples like that, but mostly I think people learn chess because we're addicted to the game. And maybe then at some point we become so good at the game that we decide, I want to do this professionally. Old boy is asking, have I seen Mikhail Tal monument on Riga? Many times. I know it is where it is. And obviously Mikhail Tal is not only in chess circles in Latvia, he's a celebrity. I mean, he already has passed away something like 30 years, but he was a true legend in Latvian chess society. I mean, you would walk the streets in Riga and ask somebody, do you know who Mikhail Tal is? I'm sure they would say, yeah, the chess champion. They would know. He was very famous back in the 60s and 70s. Is Levy's opponent a future young GM? There's a question from YouTube. Could be. He's definitely a talent. Can you become a world champ in 10 years? Any Joyers is asking. But wait a second, is this not something that Gukesh might accomplish this year? Because let me check when Domarajo Gukesh he started to play chess. I'm pretty sure it was very late. So let me check it. Let me check it. Gukesh learned to play chess at age 7. Now, at age 18, he will be fighting for the world championship title. So, answering your question, can you become a world champ in 10 years? Gukesh, this year, might make a history by becoming the world champion by learning chess only 11 years before. How about that? So, I would say, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, Levy again is burning time. So I think he's chosen between rook a1, knight b5, maybe knight b5 immediately. Rook a1, knight a4 is an option. Levinsky on Twitch is asking, do I think Levy has practical winning chances here? Not at the moment. It looks like the position is pretty equal. And I would say there's a fair chance this game is going to end in a draw. So Levy got a very nice position after the opening, but his decision making has been pretty heavy. We'll see. Miki Deca says there's an online FIDE calculator. Okay, you're referring to my rating calculations. Sure, but I'm just telling how the system works. Yeah, you could calculate, obviously, with a calculator and get very precise answer. Approximately, I mean, if we again go back to the discussion about the rating, I think this step of gaining and losing points was 70-point difference. So again, Shaik, for the victory, Levy would win 3 points, and he would lose 2 points by drawing. Approximately. All right, now b5. Let's say if black takes it, take it. That's a pin. Take it, take it. King c7. You go here. Or maybe take on c6 immediately. And you go here. So this will be the idea. 8x on b4 drops the rook. George Adams says, we thank you for coaching him as fans and supporters. Thank you. And not only you and everybody else who says, thank you, appreciate your kind words. I don't always have the time to engage with every single comment. Can I play some music? No. I'm not gonna play some music. If you want to play some music, you can turn in yourself Spotify or YouTube. If you don't mind the ads, you can listen to it yourself while watching the broadcast. You even have the opportunity to control the music you're listening. Not on this coverage. How much elo did Levy's last opponent have? His opponent was a lady, and she had about 2200. So if we use this elo calculation, Levy lost about 2 points, 2.4, something like that. Not a big deal. It's fine. All right. More pieces disappear from the board. I slightly don't like this. What was it? I mean, bishop d2, knight c7, king d2. King b6. Maybe rook go here. Knight b4. Rook c5. Some checks are threatening. Takes. And this is a threat. And by the way, there's a very cute idea. Rook c8, rook a5. Rook a5, rook c8. I'm a bit afraid about this knight on b4. How about black plays b6? Rook c1 and king b7. The bishop b5. Knight b4. Now this knight is a monster. Oh, wait, but there could be some tricks. Okay. This was my recommendation to Levy before the game. Play boring chess against a youngster. Take it to the endgame. So Levy's doing literally that. Maybe some of the choices that he was making, they're a bit too straightforward. But appears to be at least a position with no risk. And maybe Shaik here is misstep somewhere in the wrong moment. Yeah, I mean, Levy does not look really inspired, if you ask me. I feel guilty, to be honest. Maybe I should have suggested him to play the Nimzo, get a sharper game, but okay, it is what it is. We'll see how this game is gonna finish. Thank you, Phil, for liking the stream. When did I start to play chess? I started to play chess myself at age 9. It's a pretty late age for competitive chess. But again, I mean, we had this discussion. I did not start to play chess. And I did not plan I'm going to be a grandmaster. I did not plan I'm going to be coaching Levy Rosman. I started to play chess because I love the game. I love the wooden pieces. I like the process where you can compete against somebody else And I really love winning. I imagine for Levy it was quite similar. We share the same passion. I mean, I think all of us, we share the same passion. At some point, we just, some of us, we become slightly better. And maybe also ultimately become professional players. Who is my favorite chess player of all time? Socrates asks. Favorite chess player? You know, I'm going to tell you honestly, when I was a kid, my biggest idol when I was young was Garry Kasparov. Obviously, of course. He was the world champion. He was the GOAT, the greatest of all time. At least back then. But in my childhood, I was heavily inspired by Alexander Alekhine. Because one of the books, which by the way I believe is still on my shelf, is called White and Black. It's a chess novella supposedly written by Soviet Grandmaster Alexander Kotov. And it's about the life of Alexander Alekhine in the beginning of 20th century, his rivalry against Jose Raul Capablanca, friendship with Emanuel Lasker, the second world champion, his rivalry with Max Euwe when Botvinnik was approaching when Botvinnik was approaching him to play a match. Okay, this probably, most of it was a fiction, but I just like the setting, the atmosphere, that in the beginning of 20th century, playing chess, even at the highest level, it was very challenging. It was not a well-paid thing. So most of the highest level players, they were not really having great income. And yet they were doing it. Again, why? Because of the passion for the game. So I read this novella many times. And yeah, somehow it inspired me to play chess. Because there was a lot of human side to the story. In case you ever get the chance to read the book, I strongly recommend it. But I'm not sure if it's even in English, because I have it translated in Latvian. I think it's also in Russian language, but I'm not really sure if it's in English. Alexander Kotov, and the direct translation of the book is White and Black. All right. Let me see if I can pick some questions more. Do I think Gukesh no engine way of coaching should be applied more? Avuxi is asking on Twitch. I have no idea how Gukesh is being coached. I had a chance to talk with him a bit 2 years ago when he was playing in Beal. Very pleasant guy. And I wish him best of luck in the World Championship match. So I think it's going to be great. I mean, I'm talking about the match, obviously, Gukesh versus Dingleran. I've never met Dingleran in my life, but probably two of the most nicest players, they're going to fight against each other. That's the feeling, that's the impression I have. Levy is not losing on time. Levy has plenty of time. The position is really simple. There's no danger. The bar somehow favors black slightly, but I don't see how. So we're looking at lines like King B6, Rook C1, Knight B4, Rook C5, Knight A3, King D3, All of this looks human. Guess what? Whatever is better. Because this is a big threat. Rook a5 after rook c8 is a big threat. The other line we looked at was b6 and king b7. Bishop b5. And knight b4 is met by rook b4 and bishop c6. This is what we looked at as well. Okay, maybe black can just play rook c8. And if this happens, I don't know, maybe rook a1, knight b4, rook c3. It looks pretty safe for white. If black ever takes it, b takes on c3, white is taking over the game. So not dangerous for Levy. It's a bit mystery why the bar even says that here black is slightly better. I suppose because of those double pawns, but I don't see a way. Levy's plan is to play rook c1, rook c5. Get to the pawn. Maybe bishop b5, take on c6. Maybe rook a1 and b4 in some lines. Grimshank asks the question, did the draw ruin his chance at the norm? Well, it did not help. But I wouldn't go as far and say that it ruined everything. It's still too early. Still too early. Gerard the Art says, Levy looks and plays tired. Tiredness is the biggest problem. Could be. Yeah, it's not easy. We already were having a discussion about this, that the tiredness, the jet lag, the double round at the very beginning, it's not helping Levy. Also the fact that he played the very first game for 5 hours earlier today. And right now, he's officially playing today for 7 hours. 7 hours. Levy's been playing chess today. And the games are still ongoing. But I don't think that he's complaining. Because one of the reasons why Levy decided to come to Europe is that in the United States, so many open tournaments or even closed tournaments, they have double rounds a day as standard. So here in Italy, they're playing this tournament in 7 days or 1 week. So 9 games. Yeah, 7 days. So 9 games in 7 days. 2 of the days, there will be double rounds. Today is one of them. Every other day, there's a single round. I think for any player, this is close to perfect. You might argue, yeah, why not organize 1 round a day? Yeah, it's not easy, you know. I mean, if you're planning to travel abroad, could you afford to spend yourself for a single tournament, 9 games, 9 days, couple of days for traveling there and back? So essentially you might have to allocate 11 days for a single tournament. It's a lot. And that's why the organizers very often, they try to find some sort of a common ground. Like they organize a tournament within a week, 9 rounds in 7 days, or 9 rounds in even 6 days. And give the possibility for the players to play the final rounds, a single round a day. This is the pace in Spilimbergo Open. All right, listen, while Levy's thinking, I'm going to use the opportunity to make a very small break. I'll be back in like a minute. Don't go anywhere. All right. Guess what? No more moves. It's a bit slow today, isn't it? At least the second game. All right, let me check some questions. Atomic Tom is asking, how does coaching work between IM and the GM? I assume the question is that the coach is the GM and the student is the IM. In general, we try to show some advanced stuff, the small differences, because the difference between IMs and GMs is not so big. It's not that big of a difference. I think it's mainly about the details, maybe about the smarter opening choices, better calculation, better decision making. But that's it. I mean, some nuances, understanding some things a bit better. So we work on these things. So that's why I think a coach, a GM coach, could work with an IM on those topics. But I can tell you definitely for sure, there's many great IM coaches who have coached even super grandmasters. There even are very good coaches and chess theoreticians who are not even that strong players themselves, but they do know how to work with chess engines, and they are a huge help, even to some of the best players in the world. So you don't really need to be a grandmaster to be a great coach. By the way, Rook H to C8 was played by Shaikh. What does it change? So if I go here, here's the big idea. Let's say King B6, Rook C5. Okay, maybe this is not even a threat, but Bishop B5 might be a threat. Looks pretty peaceful. The other idea is to play B6. Bishop B5, King B7. And now I suppose you go here. Maybe Knight A7. Takes. Rook C3 now looks a bit too much. Maybe Rook G1, G6, H4. The game could continue something like this. Knight C6, H5, Knight B4, takes, Rook H1. Oh, wait, I'm actually missing something. You need to be a bit careful here. I suppose after Knight B4, you play just Bishop B1. And the position just equal. I like this move. Levy wants to play H5 and trade the weakness. It's a good move. Okay, I'm not going to answer this question. I'm not going to tell you which one. Did I have any coaches myself when I was young? Sure. I did. And my coaches, they were not title players. I mean, I did work a bit with a Latvian chess legend, Jānis Klovans, the 3-time world senior champion, a very humble person. He unfortunately passed away at age 75. And actually, I was the one who became the head coach at his place in Riga Chess School. But all of my other first coaches, they were not title players. And yet, I believe it was their influence who made me the person, the player I am today. Am I controlling the stream live? Yes, I am. I'm the guy in charge. Be afraid. I start the stream, I end the stream. H5, G6. Okay, so we have a couple of pawns fixed. I'm not sure who is going to favor from this. So Levy needs to watch out not to miss 97, 95. But the bishop on d3 takes care of that. No danger here. So clearly, Shaq was not interested to trade this weakness. For example, he would play g6, h5, king b6, takes. Levy has one weakness less to worry about. So h5 was pretty human move. Otherwise, he would play something like g6, h5 would happen. Or if he would play h6, there's some problems with the g pawn. Rook g1, f4. This pawn is a serious target. So h5 makes a lot of sense, fixing those pawns. But I could tell you, this could easily backfire to black. Imagine a scenario when Levy pushes e4, king e3, king f4. Don't you sense that these pawns are the target for the bishop? So it's not really so simple. I mean, black made this choice to fix those pawns. h5, g6. So he fixes the pawn on h4. But actually what he might be doing is making these pawns a future target. So if Levy will be able to play king e3, king f4, open up the position, and activate the bishop, this Lascaux bishop might simply at some point collect all of those pawns. Because now these pawns are very static. They're not moving anywhere. This was part of the strategy. Get the opponent to the endgame, as boring as it looks, and hope that your opponent is not going to have the experience. That's the best advice I could give to Levy. Maybe I was wrong. We'll see. I suppose it depends how the game's going to finish. So if Levy outplays his opponent because of a very successful endgame, everybody's going to praise me. Oh, that was a genius insight. Wow, what a great advice by the coach. GG. And if Levy is going to fail and play badly, I'm probably going to be the guy who will be criticized for suggesting this strategy, because why would you be playing so passive against a young player? You should have played an Enzo. Yeah, you never know. We'll see. But at the moment, I think that Levy is in control. He's a bit bored. He's a bit tired. But he's in control. And one of the things that we talked about in our training sessions, we talked about don't be afraid to make a draw. You make a draw, it's fine. Not end of the world. Oh, this is a nice question. I really like those odd questions. If I was not a chess player, what would I be? Well, probably I would be working in journalism, because this is what I was doing when I was not a competitive player. I didn't play competitive chess from age 18 to basically 27, maybe slightly less. And I was working as a journalist. I was working in the PR industry. I was studying in university to get my master's degree. I suppose I would be doing this today if it was not for chess. But one thing I can tell you for sure, I'm a chess player until the very end. Starting from now, I'm never quitting it. Meaning chess as a profession. All right, king d6. Obviously, black needs to get rid of the pin. I'm wondering, can Levy play here e4? Ask some questions. It's a very responsible move. I quite don't like it, but okay, maybe you reserve the e4 move for some later move. How about rook a1? This rook is not doing anything here. So b6, so the black can play knight b4, because knight b4 drops the pawn on a5. Even though, I mean, it's a double pawn, not a big deal. So still, b6, I suppose black would care for the pawn. And black wants to go here. So let's say rook c3. Knight e7, and maybe now e4. Does this make any sense? I think it does. And this rook maybe could be given a new role somewhere here. But okay, I mean, I get it. The rook at a4 kind of protects the pawn on d4 so that there's an e4 push. But it's very limited activity for the rook, so I would just start to improve. f4. Yeah, it's too peaceful for my taste. I was hoping that Levy's gonna keep e4 idea at some point. Like, again, play rook a1, b6, just pass the torch to the opponent, rook c3. If black plays knight b4, bishop e2, e4, rook g1, rook g5, maybe threaten to take and play a 4 f5. Try to use these pawns as a target for the bishop. Or after rook c3, knight e7, now play e4. But with this move f4, maybe, by the way, it's still a possibility to play f3, e4 later. Maybe it's not bad. Maybe it's still okay, by the way. For example, b6, rook c3, knight e7, rook goes here, some sort of a knight f5, take it, he takes on f5. Now it's just looking pretty drawish, to be honest. Maybe takes on b4, give up the pawn, activate the pieces. Oh, I'm missing b3, I suppose. Okay, actually it's not so simple. Because b3, rook c2 is an idea. Okay, we have some moves. Knight b4 is played. I think Levy should keep the bishop alive. Like bishop e2 or bishop b5, okay, fine. This also enables some future ideas to get a bishop on e8 and hit those pawns. All right. Any potential for tactics here? Anarchist Philip is asking. Not yet. I do not see any tactics. Not much is happening. I'm sorry. I wish this game was a bit more exciting, but those boring GM games sometimes is the part of the process. The plan here is that Shaikh is not gonna understand how to continue from here. That he's gonna lose his focus. He's gonna commit to some mistakes that Levy can capitalize on him. This is the plan. This was the plan from the very beginning. Play boring chess. Get to the endgame. It might be not enough because Shaikh is not making mistakes. He's playing all the correct moves, but he is not making any mistakes. Maybe actually he already kind of did. Those pawns, fixing them on the light squares, not allowing white to play h5. Maybe this is actually inaccuracy. And as you can see, Shaikh already has started to spend a lot of time. So he used to have something like 40-minute advantage at some point. Now he has 37. And Levy has switched to another gear. He's playing much faster. His position is simple. And he's just saying, do your worst. You know, I'm very solid here. The rook stands on c3. You want to take on c3? You're going to fix my pawn structure. How do you make progress? And I think that is essentially the difference between the old Levy and the new Levy. The old Levy, in this position, would sacrifice the exchange on a6 in a couple of minutes. He would make the content out of this. How he sacrificed the rook and play knight c7, knight a8. Would make very nice content. Levy 2-0 is thinking a bit further. And you really gotta appreciate that. So he didn't go for the very fancy sacrifice. He went for a deep battle. He got exactly what he wanted. The position is pretty level. We still might see quite a bit of turn of events later. The problem for Shaikh, I suspect, he doesn't know what to do. How do you make progress? So he positioned all the pieces on the ideal squares. Now what? What do you do? What do you do when you don't know what to do? White can improve the rook on a1, and this is the next move Levy's going to make. Rook a1, it's incoming. White could play f3, e4, and try to create targets with rook g1 f5. Levy has ideas. Where's Black's idea? Go back to f5? Allow the trade? Oh, sorry, my arrows are really bad. 97, 95, bishop d3. What does Black do? Double the rooks? The rook on c3 is defended. Let's say rook c7, you go here, rook c8. Okay, how about I play f3? I want to play e4. I want to play rook g1, rook g5, 5. What do you do? That's why Shaik is burning here a lot of time. He knows he's solid, but he needs a plan. He doesn't have it. Actually, now that I'm looking at this f4 move, I start to appreciate it. I mean, I did say before that I was thinking e4 maybe was the better move. But the more deeper I'm looking at this position, I'm wondering that maybe f4 doesn't really exclude it. And Levy could play f3, e4, generating the pawn play. So far, this is pretty nice game by Levy. It's a boring game. It's a slow game. But it's a nice game. Jess Usurper is asking, do I prefer Coca-Cola or Pepsi? I used to be a big Coca-Cola fan. I'm not going to deny. I love Coca-Cola. Pepsi quite doesn't taste the same. But lately, I'm no longer drinking cola. For the reason it contains so much sugar. I love the question, though. I used to be a big cola fan. Now I'm drinking Cola Zero. I still love the taste, but yeah, I mean, this Cola Zero is not exactly... It's not exactly the classical Coke, is it? Do I relate to Levy in his road of becoming a GM? 100%. I think we are quite similar. By getting the GM title quite late, by doing something before having gaps. Levy was focusing on coaching, now he's doing content creating. I was pursuing my career, and both of us, we decided to come back at competitive chess at some point for different reasons, but we are there. I already said this I believe was one of the reasons why Levy decided to put his trust into me. We're gonna see. I mean, if in the next couple of years, or maybe even earlier, Levy's results are gonna plummet, he's gonna find somebody to blame, maybe he's gonna fire me. What can I do? But I sure hope to do everything I can that he's gonna get to the title. All right, knight c6 goes back. Nice try. But the knight on b4 doesn't do much. So I would play something like rook a1 here to improve the rook. This is something we talked in our lessons. That when you don't know what to do, you can always improve your pieces. Actually, f3 here also makes a lot of sense. With the idea to meet knight e7 with e4. Look at that. Suddenly the bar, tiny favors white. Because you take away the f5 square. So f3, it makes sense. But it's clearly linked with the e4 push. No, he's going to improve the rook. Okay. It's fine. I suppose after 97, 95, you can always play rook h1, f3, and then you can play e4. Oh wait, he does drop the pawn on d4. 97 is going to be rook c1, maybe. We'll see. Easy move. And also please notice, the viewers, how Levy's applying pressure on the opponent. He's playing way faster. So this means the pressure is off Levy. With whom would I like to co-commentate? Somebody asked on the YouTube chat. I don't know. You know, I've done my fair share of commentary together with some of the best commentators. I've done some commentaries with Daniel Nordisky, who I treat to be the best commentator. I have done commentary with Yasser Seirvan, also with Yevgeny Miroshnichenko. Those are some of the biggest names. Petrolek, obviously. But I think we had a very nice atmosphere together with Keti Tsatsalashvili. So together with Keti, somehow it was quite nice, very relaxed atmosphere. So we did a couple of commentaries together for chess.com. We also did the last year's World Youth Championships commentary on site in Italy, Montesilvano. I suppose Keti. But also, by the way, this year with Angelika Volkova, doing the Biel Chess Festival coverage was really nice, and Angelika has definitely improved in the past couple of years. So those would be my choices, probably. I'm not sure what was the right answer, though. Maybe I should have answered. I should have commented together with Levy. Okay, maybe. I haven't really seen how Levy commentates. I know he has done some commentaries. Guilty bystander is saying that he's been listening to me more than 7 hours now. Thank you. So if I'm able to keep you alive listening to my commentaries for 7 hours, probably I'm doing something correct. I appreciate it. All right. So, you know, I'm going to say that some of you viewers, you're saying in the chat, this looks like a draw. I'm going to use a different term. I used it in the second round. It's draw-ish. Draw-ish. It's peaceful. It's not a lot. It's draw-ish. The fact that the position is draw-ish, it's equal. It doesn't mean it's going to end in a draw. There's a lot of things happening in the background you're not aware of. Like psychology. Shaik is feeling really pressed at the moment. Levy has increased the speed. Shaik no longer has the momentum. He doesn't have the plan. So if you would compare the psychology level of Levy versus Shaik an hour ago, Shaik was looking very confident, and Levy was feeling tired. Now look how the body language has changed for those players. Levy's feeling more relaxed. He's fine. I think also if this game is going to end with a draw for Levy, it's like, okay, fine, it's a draw, no problem. And Shaik is trying to make some progress. So knight e7, bishop d3 is played. I wonder if Levy is ready to give it the bishop at f5. I was kind of hoping that he's going to play this f3, e4. So there was this opportunity here to play f3. I think Levy should have tried this. f3, knight e7, e4. This looks pretty nice. And then maybe a look for this e5 break. By the way, it's a mate in one thread. It's a mate in one thread. I mean, the king is in the harm's way. I just realized. So Levy should have spent a bit more time here. So this rook a1 and bishop d3. I'm wondering if he's going to take on f5. I wonder if you can play rook h1. It feels very passive. Yeah, it just makes no sense. Because f3, e4 always drops the pawn on d4. So I suppose there's going to be a trade. G takes on f5 is risky for black. You just open up some problems. So knight f5 takes it. It's got to be e takes on f5. Again, maybe there's going to be this idea of takes, and activate the rook. I don't know how good is this. Here, b3. Oh wait, this is pretty bad. Yeah, I don't understand this. This is probably not great. So what was it? Knight f5? The pawn is the target. Takes. Maybe rook c1. If black goes here, b takes on c3. b5. Rook a1. a4. King c1. Maybe we are going somewhere here. Like king b2, get the rook. Okay, it just feels quite drawish again. We are going to see. Have I thought about making a guess the ELO video together with Levy? Your content? No, I have not. I mean, if Levy is going to invite me to do some collaboration, of course I'll happily agree. But the priority is the coaching. I mean, I've been hired to help Levy to become a grandmaster, not to make more content. But if Levy would ask me to do some content, sure, I would agree, because I'm also myself a small-time content creator, and I would definitely find it interesting. Have I ever coached an IM into GM? Yes. 2 of my students that I started to work with, they got from FM to GM in something like 5 years. So yeah, I've done this. Quick question, MVL or Rappert? I don't know, Rappert? Because he plays different chess. He's an artist on the board. Rook c3. Wow. Big move. That's a big move. Very odd moment to take it. Yeah, Levy's like, what is this? What is this move? Why do you play Rook c3 now? I thought you had to play knight f5 first. Strange moment. Okay, b takes on c3. Levy improves its pawn structure. I suppose knight f5 is about to follow. Let's watch what's going to be the response of Shaik. And by the way, Levy already has more time on the clock. Basically, for the very first time since the beginning of this game. Remember, there was a moment when Shaik had extra 35 or 40 minutes on the clock. It's gone. I suppose you have to play knight f5 here. By the way, it doesn't mean that this position is so simple. For example, after knight f5. Okay, Levy can take it. But how about I just ignore it? I want to play f3, e4. What do you do? I mean, what do you do? So I suppose you want to play a4. But is this a problem? Is this a problem? Because I can always just take it. And if I find nothing else, I'm just going to take an f5. So you have exactly one check here at some point later. What is it? What's so special about it? So you might play b4 as well. And I want to play f3, e4. Okay, this is probably pretty ugly because I already see the knight is heading to d6, b5, and knight c4. But my point being is that maybe this pawn on a3 actually becomes quite a bit a liability for black. Probably not. I was thinking something like takes, and king c2, a2, and rook a1. Now I notice there's f6, g5, and black is organizing a very dangerous pass pawn. Okay, it's not going to work. So I suppose after knight f5, rook h1 is a move. After a4, there's another idea. I could just go back. You take the pawn on h4, I take the pawn on a4. But okay, I suppose, again, black has nothing to worry about here. So black has a very strong pass pawn, so I don't think Levy's going to do this. And most likely after a4, he could just take it. And again, just take it. Take it, take it. I don't know, maybe king d3, rook a2. Is there some f3 here? Okay, this looks a bit dangerous. Oh, sorry. I tried to activate my pieces. This was the idea. Not an easy endgame. Not at all. What is Levy's biggest challenge to reach the Grandmaster title? Levy's biggest challenge is himself. And I think so far he's been battling himself successfully. If only Levy will get the chance to play f3, e4, keeping the knight on e7, he has very good chances to take over the game. So Shaik, he has to play knight f5. The question is, a couple of questions. Question number one, how comfortable is Shaik entering a rook endgame? How strong he is in rook endgames? Because he's a youngster. He probably doesn't have a lot of experience in rook endgames. Levy has. The second, maybe for Shaik, going with knight f5 is agreeing to a draw. The question is Shaik happy with this? Or he wants to play for more? A lot of questions that need answers. Somebody asked me a question, do I know karate? I know karate. I have never practiced this. But I watched, there was some Netflix TV show about karate. What was it? Cobra Kai? I've seen it. That's it. That's basically where my knowledge about karate ends. Probably like for most people. How much do I think player evaluation from actual stockfish analysis? Probably the question is how much different it is during a live game. Well, I can tell you this, that the players have learned to use the evaluation of engines, how they treat in the game. So a very popular thing among chess players to discuss about the game is, oh, in this position, I have about 0.4 advantage. And a club level player is listening to this, somebody who is not using engines, what are you talking about? What 0.4? So 0.4 is like a computer term, like stockfish. And stockfish would say 0.4 is one of the players to slaughter bear. Not a big deal, slaughter bear. Back in the old days, by the way, not if I was played, people would just say the position is equal, white is better, black is better, white is winning, black is winning, etc. Where when the commentators were confused, they would just say the position is unclear. Yeah, when you don't know what to say, you just say the position is unclear. Stockfish doesn't allow such luxury. There's immediately evaluation. Now the question is Levy going to take on the 5 immediately? Like takes and play c4. By the way, how about this idea? Do you see the bar? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Now with what pawn is the young Indian gonna recapture on the 5? G takes it at 5, hands over the G file for white. It feels quite risky. But again, the position might be very concrete, and he takes an F5 is played. Are you seeing, dear viewers, what I'm seeing from the evaluation bar? Levy is better. C4. There's gotta be the move. For the first time in a long time, Levy is better. He's strictly following the strategy with the youngsters to the endgame. He's being very patient. He adjusted his decision speed. He's playing smart chess, boring chess. And it seems to pay off. So the point is after c4, the b5 push needs to be stopped. So c4 is basically necessary. So black will play king c6 and threaten with b5. Now the question is how to continue. Maybe I'm not exactly sure. Maybe king c3, b5. I wanted to get something like this. But the problem is this king is penetrating white's defenses. That's a problem. I wanted to use the king to shelter against these pawns. So I can always just take it here and play king b2. But black is going to be just in time. Doesn't look that great. So c4, king c6. How do you deal with b5? Maybe king d3, keep the c file unoccupied. b5. Now play c takes on d5. And rook c1. Although this pawn is very strong. Check here. Here. a3, king b1. It's a very complex endgame. But I think that Levy needs to play c4. Because black's idea is to play b5, a4 himself. So maybe c4, king c6. And something now. Could be something like rook c1 as well. Takes, b5. Takes, rook c7, a4, king c2, a3, king b1. No risk for Levy. No risk whatsoever. Put a king on a2, collect these pawns. Okay, maybe black somehow survives. But it's a position I would definitely play for white. And c4 is played. The critical moment of the game. Slowly but carefully, Levy is trying to take over the game in an endgame. Maybe it's still not enough. I mean, Shaka has done nothing wrong. Maybe except of this, if you go back a couple of moves, this knight b4, knight c6. This was a waste of time. Remember? He played knight b4. Then he went back. You realize the knight on b4 is just beautiful, but that's it. And this was a odd moment for him to take on c3 anyway. Because he could have played knight f5 immediately. And after the trade and rook c1, now he could have taken on c3. And now the point is, now he plays b5. This was not the same. But for some reason, he decided to take immediately on c3. And now, this gives white the opportunity to play c4. And this stays in the head. Are you wondering if you're sitting there with black? Why? Why did I do this? Why did I take on c3? Why did I allow my opponent to play c4? You think the opponent is not thinking about that? I can guarantee you, all of us were thinking like that. You always start to question your choices. So I think the critical move is going to be king c6. And king d3 or rook c1. I like this idea. King c6, rook c1. Try to take on d5. Maybe king d3, activate the rook. There's a couple of ideas that you need to know about rook endgames. Is the rook needs to be active. The king needs to be active. So, Shaik is reaching for the move. This, I believe, for this particular game, was the best strategy that Levy could have chosen. So far, it's working. By the way, I have a question to the mods. Do you think it's possible to establish some kind of a counter? How many times in the streams people are going to ask if I do believe Levy is going to become a GM? Because I think today I already got the question like 30 times. Yesterday I got the same, and this is only round 3. Could be a counter. Yeah, I do believe, answering the question, I do believe he will be a GM. Let me check. Who's texting me? What? All right. Why did Levy not travel before the jet lag to adjust to it better? Feedback on YouTube doesn't understand. Answering your concerns, I'm sure he had reasons. What was my own GM journey like? It was slightly different. I was working starting age 27 at Riga Chess School. I was working on chess with some of the most talented kids every day, daily, 5 times a day. I was playing in tournaments, I was teaching them some chess. So I was in this atmosphere of I am GM level every day for 2 years. So that's why it took me 2 years to get the GM title. For Levy, it could be quite similar. He's always in chess, doing recaps, playing, coaching, being coached, writing courses. He's always improving as a player. His main problem always has been the mentality, like he was a bit psychologically not very sure of himself. But he has massively improved in that regard. That's why my estimation is a couple of years, 2-3 years. But, I mean, I'm not a seer. I don't know. Maybe Levy is going to prove everybody wrong and get all the 3 GM norms like in 6 months. Maybe. I mean, who knows? That would be great. But probably very optimistic. Does Mikhail Tal have influence in Latvian chess like a local hero? Hive Mind is asking on YouTube. I'm sorry, on Twitch. Sure. He's a living legend. Yep. Everybody loves Tal. Especially among chess players. Especially in Latvia. We are very proud of him. And yeah, some players do like to play like Tal. Very creative chess. Exciting chess. Also, by the way, do not underestimate the influence of the camera. This is something we talked about in the previous rounds. Shaik knows that right now there's a fair chance that something like 10,000 viewers are watching every move he makes. He's still very young. He's nervous. So it just combines together. You feel you don't know the plan. You don't have the plan for the position. You feel you miss something like the c4 push. You blame yourself for playing for c4. And then you feel with all of your heart that there's something like 10,000, he doesn't know exactly how many viewers, they're watching every move he makes and they're cheering for Gotham chess. It's a very difficult environment. So I think that we also should really respect Shaikh for showing some amazing chess here. I pulled up this information earlier in the beginning of the round that he was playing some exhibition games with Erigasi and Gukesh, and he won a scholarship. So he's one of the talented kids from India with a bright future ahead of him. And Levy has very serious opposition today. Who knows? Maybe like in 10 years, Shaikh is going to become a world champion, and then Levy could make a video about it, how I beat a future world champion those 10 years ago in Spilimbergo when I was on my way to become a Grandmaster, already being a Grandmaster. Why not? You have to beat those young talents when they're young, like the future world champions, because later it becomes impossible. And Shaikh is still thinking. He's still thinking. I think this is a very good moment for Shaikh to make a second mistake in a row. He's not sure. He feels the game is slipping out of his hands. Like he does play King C6, just as I mentioned. Now what? King C6 is played. Levy was getting ready. He should have expected this move. Black wants to play b5. So the big question is, what is the right moment for white to activate the rook? Is it rook c1 right now? Is it king d3 and then rook c1? What is it? Actually, there's another idea. You could play king c3 with the idea to meet b5 with c5. b4, king b2. But this feels like some sort of fortress. Yeah, I don't see White making any progress here. Black just stands and does nothing. Yeah, so this is a strong pass pawn, but I don't think that Levy's going to win this. So, no, I mean, b5, c5 is leading to a dead end. Okay. Let's try to play king d3. With the idea to meet b5. By the way, what if we take on b5 and we play rook c1? We threaten some ideas here. King b4. Is this too slow? It seems it's an idea. Let's say a4 takes, rook a4, rook a7, rook c7. The king goes here, you collect those pawns. Looks promising. So what was it? King d3. b5. Takes it, and rook c1. King b4, rook c3. Feels a bit slow, but maybe there's nothing wrong with this. I don't see how black can punish this. Rook a7, king goes here. This is a threat. What else is there? So let's say king d3. A d takes. Maybe now play b5. It's another idea. Okay, I don't know what is this. So white can play c5. And this could be a race. 2 pawns versus 2 pawns. Who is going to be faster? I see the bar favors white, but I'm not exactly sure about this. Like b4 is going to be king c4. a4 maybe king c3. You put the king on b4, and you want to play f3, e4, d5. By the way, let's say you go here, 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 and here, and this is incoming. Okay. All right. King c3, Levy plays instead. Yeah, but now he closes the c file. It's probably still okay. Like after b5. Yeah, but he needed the c file for the rook. Takes, takes. King b2, and black is first to take over the c file. No, I think this is not as good. And c5, I don't think that Levy here can make any progress. What else is there? Take it on d5. Take it. Maybe now play king d3. With the idea to play rook c1. But yeah, you just wasted the time for king c3, king d3. So a4. How about f3? a3, e4. I'm not sure about this. Yeah, the bar also says that this is not so great. Here, here. You go here. Super complex. And b5 is played. Yeah, this king c3 is a minor inaccuracy by Levy. Maybe actually the Levy doesn't realize he could be pushing slightly for the victory here. Yeah, we are approaching the finish line of this game, obviously, because there's not much time left. My rating, I got this question already a couple of times, is below 2600. I used to be 2600 for quite a while, but now it's slightly below 2570, I believe. What inspired me to become a GM? I don't know. I just wanted it because that's a guy's title in chess, so. Everyone wants to be a GM, I suppose. Is there a possibility of a GM norm in the story? Yet another question. Yes, it is, but I think for this, Levy would have to win this game. With the last move, I think Levy just made a minor inaccuracy. He's shaking the head. Maybe he realized he should have played King D3, not King C3. Okay, I mean, there was no guarantee that he would have any real advantage even after King D3, but I think it was worth a shot. The question is how to continue here. Very big decision for Levy. Do you play C5? But then position that just looks deadlocked. B4, King B5, Rook A6. I suppose black does nothing and white cannot make a progress. If Levy takes it here, he is not in time to use the C file because of the unfortunate placement of the king. It should have been on D3, not on C3. If Levy plays C takes on D5, he creates this opportunity for black to create a pass pawn. Might be still okay, like something like F3. F3, A4, maybe King B4. Okay, what is this position even? Oh, look at that. There's 8x on B3. Oh, that's a shame. The point is Rook A8 is B2. You could have stopped this pawn. That's a big problem. Otherwise, this idea of King B4 would have been quite something. To play Rook C1, Rook C5. Maybe try to win the pawn. It still doesn't feel enough, but it would have been an idea. So we got here with C takes on D5 and F3. Stopping King E4. Threatening to play E4 at some point. So A4. There's no King B4. That's a problem. Oh, sorry. Okay, how about King? Yeah, it just feels weird. King D3. I quite do not see. A3, this feels quite risky. B4, A2, yeah, this rook is very passive. Maybe ignore the pawns and play something else like F3. It's also an idea. So let's say there's a trade and a trade, and there's Rook A3. What do we make of this? By the way, one of the games in the New York IM tournament, I believe that was the game against Megan Lee. Levy also won a pretty similar looking Rook endgame. And then you just play E4, E5, E4, D5, E5. I'm so bad with arrows. And the pawn on A4 is very nice, but it's not moving anywhere. Very tough endgame. Levy also might be facing a question. Maybe I should just make a draw. Maybe don't go all the way. there's a fair chance I might misplay it, and then it's going to be almost impossible to recover in the tournament. Maybe draw is okay. Sometimes these thoughts, you have them in the mind. Not necessarily about a move to be played. Big choice. Yeah. This is something that Levy can definitely improve. Sometimes he's quite not there yet. So obviously he's becoming a better and better player. But sometimes he doesn't spend enough time for the right moment. Like, he was doing everything he was supposed to do. He applied more speed. He applied pressure. He made his opponent to make a mistake. He was very relaxed. And at this moment, sometimes he quite doesn't yet feel that after you have applied more pressure, there's a critical moment where you need to spend a bit more time. So he played king c3 quite quickly, like in a couple of minutes. And now after b5, he's in a 10-minute thing. This, unfortunately, was a mistake. So he shouldn't have missed b5, because king c6 was pretty obvious that black is trying to play b5. And I think it was a better idea to invest those 10 minutes right now on this position, because b5 is incoming anyway. And he played king c3. His opponent played b5. And you could basically tell from the body language, Levy realized something about this position. I'm not sure what it is. He realized probably the king should have been on d3. But okay, it is what it is. You have to work with what you have. So is he gonna continue? I think f3 makes quite a bit of sense. To apply more pressure. This is the move also that Shaik would not expect. Because I'm sure Shaik is ready for c takes on d5. He's ready for c takes on b5. He's ready for c5. f3 is like an unexpected move. Keeping more tension. But it's also a 3-result move. Now it's Levy who is again behind on the clock. The players are approaching the time scramble. Levy's position is still 5 and f3 was played. I like this move. Given the circumstances that Levy made this inaccuracy with king c3, I think f3 is the best move. I do not think Shaik expected this. There's all kinds of possibilities for black to go wrong. I mean, okay, maybe not to go wrong, to make a big choice. He needs to figure out, does he take once? Does he take twice? Does he take not at all? Or does he play exactly like white? Ignore the trade. And the clock is ticking. That's a move I didn't think he really expected. So I could easily imagine here Shaik spending 3 minutes on a position. Because again, every single move you're about to make, it comes with a lot of responsibility. Do you play a4? For example, a4, c takes, b5, king b5, b takes, rook a4, rook b1. No risk for Levy whatsoever. But okay, probably also no risk for black as well. Yeah, so I was hoping that Levy's going to be in time to attack the pawn on f7. Now I see he's not in time. So a4 is actually a move. But again, here Shaik would have to evaluate what happens after c5. Has he not committed to a weakness like a3? What happens after b4? Or what happens after king b4? Here, king goes back. You go here, takes it, takes it. You go back, rook a6. You have to calculate those things very quickly. This is a very complex game, very complex endgame. And you have to have a lot of feel for the position. Levy should have the better feel. I think this was still, despite the inaccuracy so far, quite a high-level game by Levy. He could have done some things better, but I like the patience that he's doing. Much more mature decisions. That's the kind of play I think we're expecting from him. Is he going to play b4 here? Big choice. I think this makes sense. b4, king d3, and d takes on c4. Check here. What is this position? How do you recapture? King c4, king b6 looks quite dangerous for white. Is it dangerous though? I don't know. You need to evaluate what happens after b takes on c4. Who is going to be faster? a4, e4, b3, king c3. What is this position? Who is in control? White's going to play king b2, king a3, and activate the rook. Very tough choice for Shaikh. And I think also with f3, Levy says, I'm willing to fight. So he could have just played c5, close the position, and do nothing, avoid a fight, make a safe draw. Levy is going for a fight. And exactly as I predicted, Shaikh is spending time because he was not ready for this choice of f3. I think pretty soon he's going to make a move. Because you don't want to have a complex rook endgame playing on increment. He's reaching for the move. Some sort of a pawn push. It doesn't look like a trade is about to happen. My money would be on b4. But that's a very big decision. There's no way he's sure about it. Maybe b takes on c4. Again, tough choice. A lot of trades to consider. And he plays b4 check. All right. King d3, I suppose. Or wait. There's also king b2. King b2 is also a move. No, Levy plays king d3. And d takes on c4 is played. The only move engine says, okay, I'm not going to argue with an engine. I don't know, what is this? I mean, b takes on c4 is going to be a very unbalanced endgame. I suppose this is the big idea. King b6, d5, rook c8, king d4, rook c3, rook b1, king goes here, e4. Oh, wait, you can just take on f3. Oh, wow. That's a problem. I don't like this. I was wondering maybe Levy should have played here after b4 check, king b2. But okay, king d3 feels very natural move. Very critical moment of the game. Very tense endgame. Most likely Levy's going to play b takes on c4. But those spots are getting really scary. A4. And I'm not sure now what. Maybe E4? We looked at this position briefly. It's insane. Like A3, King C2, King B3, or a B3, King C3. What is this? He takes with a king. This looks pretty scary now for Levy. I don't like this King C4 move. Now Black's idea is getting pretty obvious. Rook C8 and Rook C3. I think he's been mishandling things a bit. D5, okay, this makes sense. But now what about Rook C8 and Rook C3? The game suddenly becomes very, very concrete. I don't know who is the favorite here. I see the bar says the position is just equal. A Rook C8, Rook C3 is definitely happening. Levy has the slightly better time situation on the clock. Pretty scary stuff. So let's say Rook C8, King D4, Rook C3. You protect the pawn and King B5. What is this? Okay, maybe White just stands and does nothing. Maybe it's actually okay. A4 takes it, King A4, and D6. You just promote the pawn. So maybe this is still okay for Levy. Rook B2. Maybe Black plays F6, not allowing any King E5 business. Rook B1. King B6, Rook B2, Rook B1, Rook B... Maybe it's actually a draw. I'm not sure. King D4 is played. I like Levy's decision making. Okay, King D4 was the obvious move. He's trying to apply pressure. Rook C3, Rook B1 is played very quickly. We are actually getting the moves a bit faster. Very tense moment. F6 is played. All right, the very big decision. I suppose the only move for Levy is to do nothing. Rook B2, Rook B1. And this pawn always could be targeted on G6. Rook B2 is played pretty quickly. I like the speed. I like the speed how Levy is playing. Again, the position is quite level, but I would never call it drawish. Not anymore. King B5, you go back. A4, you take it. King A4, D6. Not so obvious. Yeah, this unfortunately happened after this inaccuracy, King C3. It could have been avoided. So for most of the part of the game, the strategy was working. Maybe it is still working. The plan before the round was that Levy's best chance is to play simple chess, get to the endgame, It was working up to a certain moment. We are going to see. It could be the game is going to finish in a draw, that none of the players is going to decide to make a progress. I don't think also Shaik wants this. He wants to fight. If he gets the king on c7, king on d6, what about rook a2, rook a5? King b5 is played. I think Levy's response is going to be pretty obvious. Rook b1. Maybe there's something else. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, maybe he can sacrifice the pawn to play rook a2. The best case he can do there is a draw. I think there's no need to give up the pawn on d5 just yet. Rook b1 looks pretty good. Oh, by the way, watch out for this idea. Rook c2, you could never play rook g1. This will be very funny mate on the board. Maybe not so funny for Levy. So rook b1 is played. Rook c2, watch out for the mate in one threat. Okay, this is quite an obvious idea. I suppose you just play e4, take the center. And you see Barcelona really start to love White's position. King b6, Shaik goes back. Shaik senses there's a danger to lose the game. Levy finds nothing else because the rook is tied to defend the pawn on b3. Rook b2. Now what black is going to do? Is he going to risk it? Is he going to continue pushing forward? King b5, king b6. If he does this, it's a draw. Is he going to risk it and play something else like a4, king a5, or rook c1, rook h1? Or he's going to be the pragmatic player? The clock situation suggests that he's going to repeat the position because as much as you want to win, you don't want to lose. Nobody wants to lose. King b5 is played, rook b1 is played. The position repeats the second time. I think we are heading to a draw unless... No, this is going to be a draw. I think we are heading to a draw right here. King b6, rook b2. And yeah, shake hands. All right. Well. Okay. What can I say? It was a very, very tense game. Not quite the result Levy was looking for today. So there's definitely some sense of disappointment, but it was very, very tense. From my part, I can say that the strategy was working until some moment. But at a critical moment, Levy maybe rushed a bit. He played a bit too quick. Yeah, you can see he's quite unhappy because this damages a bit his chances to get the GM norm in this tournament. But again, this is the part of the road. You can't always win. And every single game that Levy plays, he's going to teach him something. This time he was playing against a young talent from India who was definitely playing stronger than his rating suggests. So you can see the players analyzing the game right there. I'm not sure the position they're discussing. Maybe they're discussing this king d3. Levy's not exactly sure. I think the key moment of this game, the best chance Levy had, was right here. Right here. This innocent looking move, king c3. It looked great. It's a logical move. But the thing is, he crossed the c file. So he can't play king d3. With the idea, if black now plays b5, This simply gives white more opportunities like c takes on b5, rook c1, and rook c3. The point is king c2, white frees the rook and is able to get to those weaknesses. Probably still not enough to win the game, but I believe this was the best shot. Maybe from the very beginning, Levy could have done something a bit more different. At the opening, I do believe was a success. But this c takes on d5 was a very big decision. Maybe knight e5 was more fighting choice. With the idea to meet bishop e6 with something like knight c3, it would have been a completely different game. Yeah, so we don't know how it would have turned out. And now this moment when he could have played rook a6, listen, I don't know. This was definitely a thing to play knight c7, to play knight a8. So Levy was looking at this position for a long time. Like he decided that he doesn't really have any realistic chances to win it. Was he right or not? I don't know. Maybe he still should have tried to go for this position, like king d1, rook a8, d4, rook b8, bishop d3, bishop c2, bishop d2, get the rook out. I don't think it's a trivial draw. But Levy decided, okay, so he decided not to sacrifice the rook and made a mature choice. It almost paid off at the very end. He was very patient. He was looking for his chances, but Shaikh ultimately was a very tough nut to crack, and the game was finished in a draw. What does it mean for the tournament? Levy right now stands with 2 points out of 3. This means the start is a bit slow. Ideally, he was hoping for 2.5 points out of 3, maybe 3 points out of 3. So it's a minor setback. But again, this is normal. He has had very good opponents. It's been a long day. He has slight jet lag. So having this tournament, these 2 games today was pretty tough for him. And I think that overall, there's no need for Levy to be unhappy. And tomorrow, he's going to be coming back more refreshed with more strength. So the next round will be tomorrow. And it's going to start at 3:30 Central European Summer Time. Tomorrow will be only 1 round. That's it. No more double rounds tomorrow. And then there's going to be another double round day. And, as a final words, maybe I could say that I hope you enjoyed this. It was a pretty long day because, I mean, this game lasted for almost 4 hours. The second round of the day earlier was lasting for 5 hours. So we have been watching some chess almost 9 hours in total. And I enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it. Unfortunately, Levy did not win. He made 2 draws today. He won the first round, rather quick victory. Today was a quick draw. But still fun. I would like to thank all of you for being officially amazing, for your inspired comments. Maybe even also to some of the critics who didn't really like what they were saying. Well, I cannot please everybody, but I hope that the majority of you liked still what you were saying. And I will be back tomorrow at 3, about 15 Central European Summer Time. I'm going to make an event scheduled on YouTube. So we had a total today, I believe, at the moment, 30,000 or so people watching live on YouTube. Also on Twitch, about 5,000-6,000 followers. So in total, about 17,000-18,000 impressive numbers. So, I mean, I'm humbled really to be part of this. And I wish you, all of you, a great evening. Take some rest. Write some positive words to Levy in the comments. He needs some support. And we'll do our best that tomorrow he's going to be back on the winning ways. I'm signing off. I'm his coach, Grandmaster Art of Nations. It was my pleasure. Take care. Have a great evening. What I'm supposed to say? Get out of here, yeah? I don't know. Actually, it's a Levy's thing, but okay, whatever.